Hey guys, ASUS here and welcome back to the channel. It's 2021. So if you guys have been following me on my social media, I have been kind of talking about, my, not really New Year's resolution, but new me resolution, where I'm trying to get more stuff done in a better space of time. Because I think one of the things that I have been pretty notorious for this past couple of years is just being downright a procrastinator. And I'm admitting it here and now, and hopefully, not really hopefully, but I am struggling, and I'm struggling to go upward into that space where I want to be a bit more productive, and it starts with this one. So, a little bit of a story, guys. You can actually skip the video. I'll be putting those kind of timestamps at the bottom for the video, so that if you guys don't want to listen to my little bit of a ramble, then that's okay as well. So a little bit of the scenario why this video was created, or why this tech video was, birthed, is that I had an issue, what was it, December or November of 2020, where my internet, I live in the Philippines, where my internet just died. And I didn't have internet for about 2 to 3 days, but here's the thing. We have 2 lines on the same internet, one for my family's office and one for my personal use. I pay for my personal use, guys, and it just died straight up for like 2 days. And interesting enough, the one for my family's did not. So I couldn't really bring all of my setup there, just for the fact that I only be using it for a day, because my setup is pretty complicated in my workstation, and it is very, very heavy, especially my main desktop, which weighs more than anything else I've ever lifted in my life that is in my possession. Anyways, fast forward a little bit. I posted on Facebook that if any brand is kind enough to send me a laptop, because I think a laptop would have been really, really good, because at least it has the same capabilities as a desktop. I only needed to do online work, which is streaming and webcams on the work from home shoutcasting setup. I could do that. And lo and behold, one of my friends from ASUS actually immediately said that, yo, ASUS, you really need one right now. If so, I got a free unit for you that you can use. I can send it on the day. And I'm like, yo, that would be so awesome. What do you need me to do? Just make a video and that's it. I'm like, sure, bring it forward. Send it along. I was expecting to receive a kind of mid-range, a little bit of a chunky boy gaming laptop, which is fine with me. Again, I just needed to use it at home. But here's the kicker. Here's the kicker, guys. This thing is the ASUS ZEPHYRUS G14. It has in the back, as you can see, a display which they call the Animatrix. They've customized it to say the floating words ASUS. And this thing is fan-freaking-tastic. Why am I in love with this particular laptop that I have right now? The ASUS ZEPHYRUS G14 is a compact beast in your hand. That's the simplest way you can go about it. It has great specs. Being a 14-inch laptop, it does have its caveats. I'd say it right now. The caveats that I've had with this particular model this particular design is kind of 2 things. First of all, it gets incredibly hot. Even when you're just doing simple editing work, it immediately goes quiet into turbo mode. So it has performance mode and turbo mode. Turbo mode you can only use when the laptop is plugged in. Performance mode is the kind of battery draining mode that allows you to do your work when you're on the go. It does drain the battery a little bit more, but it does its job pretty well. But again, the issue about it is that it goes hot, super hot. I have seen some videos, I think, some videos that talked about how you can actually do a hack for it. It's not sanctioned by ASUS because this actually goes through the registry files. So you can just check it out online on Google, and be warned, I did not do it on this one because this is a LED laptop and I don't want to do anything that breaks this laptop, because it's about 100,000 pesos for this model alone. This is the top model I have for myself, which is the GA40IV. This thing contains a Ryzen 9 4900HS, HS meaning high performance mobile, as well as low power desktop So again, it is rocking an RTX 2060Q, roughly 25% weaker than its desktop counterpart. It has, for this particular model, I'm not sure if all models have it, a 1TB NVMe SSD, which is fantastic. I can just like throw a couple of my files here, a couple of games, and I'm still pretty good. I don't even have to get like a external hard drive or an external SSD for this one. The things I've installed here is Adobe Lightroom, Adobe Photoshop, and DaVinci Resolve for my photo, video, editing purposes, and it's done well. I'll also be honest, I haven't used this much for gaming because I haven't really had the need to, because the time that they gave this to me, I was in Christmas break mode. So all of the stuff that I've been doing is just hanging out with the family, watching media, and I'll be talking about that later with the media stuff on this particular device. The one that I have right now has 16 gigabytes of RAM, clocked at 3200 megahertz. I kind of experienced a little bit of stutters here and there, maybe because of the RAM usage or the CPU usage, when I'm not plugging this thing in, but when I have, it's just smooth all throughout. So if you're wondering about the display of this particular unit, so here's the kind of other caveat that I forgot to mention. This thing only goes as high as 120 hertz. So if you guys know, if you're a competitive gamer, if you play like me, I play a lot of Valorant, especially on my PC, this thing goes up to 165 hertz. In that 40 hertz difference, I can still feel like there's an issue with this when I'm gonna try to play it with competitive use. Again, I haven't, but at least for the regular use, I can already feel it. And that just means something that when I go for a game, I know that's gonna be there. And honestly, I can't go back to something lower when I'm gonna be playing my competitive games. But this thing does support full HD 1080p IPS. So the colors, again, just beautiful straight up. I watch and it is fan-freaking-tastic. This laptop can actually play music really well with the speakers, as it has its kind of like internal speakers that is upward and downward fire. I will try to give you like a video for that, wherein, okay, so underneath this thing, there is the ventilation via air intakes, right? As with all like gaming laptops and such, it's all about the bottom intake, the sidewards airflow for, for cooling the system. But it seems like the speakers themselves are upwards firing, but they also kind of create this echo inside that spills at the bottom that allows for a little bit more depth when I'm listening to music. Granted, it doesn't go the highest. Even if I'm at 100% volume, it doesn't explode. Like, it doesn't feel like it's too much. It's just good though. But sometimes when you're far away and you want to use it as kind of like a portable speaker, it's not really that good. So near to you, it's okay, it's really great, has really good sound depth, but the farther you go away with it, it turns really, really inaudible very quick. So that's kind of like a weird thing about it. But next up, camera. There's none. You gotta buy a separate camera for this one. Here's a little bit of a thing for me. I don't like laptops that have the power button as a kind of keypad press. You know how some laptops actually have that, where there's this, you have your keyboard, your built-in keyboard, right? And the power button looks like a switch from the built-in keyboard. I don't know if you can see it, but I have chonky fingers, big fingers. And I have heavy hands as well. So if I'm typing, sometimes my press spills a little bit to other keys. So I have to like backspace that and stuff when I'm typing, right? But I really appreciate that they left it far from anything you could accidentally press. And you have to really press into it to actually force the power on or power off of this thing. Oh, here's the thing. Okay, next up in my talking point is the keyboard. Okay, I'm gonna bring back the laptop real quick here. So I'm gonna be flooding this video with a lot of B-rolls, right? But this keyboard, I don't know if you can, okay, I'm not sure if you can hear it. But that keyboard This thing, when I'm typing, it's just like there's enough tactile feedback that I'm like, oof. It's like that. Oof. I'll just like give a sound test for you guys and just show you how good that typing experience is. Anyways, it's probably one of my favorite things about the laptop itself because I don't feel like, oh, I bought like this, super expensive laptop and the keyboard typing experience is cheap. This thing has that nice typing experience. Anyways, going on to the next topic, we have the battery of this thing. So, what is it? I think it's a 676 watt-hour battery. I don't really know what that means, but on my use case, I was able to get about 3 to 6 hours of battery life on continuous use, watching Netflix on this thing, editing videos on this thing without it being plugged at all. I just looked at the battery indicator meter at the bottom and it does go significantly quick, even if you're just kind of listening to this thing. And I think part of it would probably be because this thing got a lot of lights on. Part of the thing where I think it's also kind of losing battery from the looks of it, all right, is that the animatrix thing in the back, awesome, but it's probably draining part of the battery as well. So the weight of this thing is 1.7 kilograms. You don't really feel the weight. It's really nice. The extra weight that you get from this thing is from the adapter, but the adapter is relatively smaller than any other adapter I've seen. And I've seen like the really big gaming laptops from about 3 years back, and they have like these 240 watt power bricks that if you lift them, you'd literally feel them on your biceps. Now, it does have 2 USB Type-Cs, but the other one does have the special features with the DisplayPort 1.4, as well as power delivery. This one on the right is just a 3.2 Gen 2 Type-C. Normally what I kind of use with this is I have 2 use cases. I have a flash drive or a card reader that I just plug it in here. It works really well because I don't want to plug like multiple things on the USB port since there's only 2 USB ports. So probably you're gonna have to increase it with that dongle life. At least it does have its own built-in ports here, which if your use case is a little bit more minimal, like you just need like 1 to 2 USB ports, this thing can handle it fine. And if you need to expand it a little bit more, you have the USB-C to increase that with a USB hub. So which is totes awesome. Next up, has an HDMI, which is cool, HDMI port. Plug this thing into a TV, was able to watch Netflix and kind of just change in between. And that power, that extra support without buying a dongle is fantastic. Anyways, honestly, I really do love this laptop. For my buying power, I definitely will have to kind of slap myself 1,000 times before I buy this thing because it's really expensive at about 100,000 pesos. Again, for what you're getting for the money's worth, this is definitely great and all. Because again, you could probably spend the same amount of money for a desktop that would be 10 times the size of this. But this thing at least packs a little punch. Even in laptop terms, if you get like a bigger laptop with 100,000 pesos, you'd probably get better specs. But the thing about this thing is that it has a Ryzen 9 inside. It has a 2060 Max-Q inside for just the size of 14 inches. It's not even that thick. Look at that, like half a thumb of height. This thing was definitely built for compact traveling in mind. Not the lightest laptop that you'll get. It's not the heaviest, it's just in the middle and it's just perfect. Honestly, I would love to have this in hand, and I just want to say again, from the bottom of my heart, ASUS, thank you so much, because if I didn't have this, I would have just like fainted because I really needed a laptop to borrow. Again, it's a little bit overkill for what I needed to do, but at least with the time that I had with it, I just like had so much fun. Hopefully you enjoyed that. If you have any questions, suggestions, violent reactions, please do put them in the comments down below. If you liked it, like it, dislike it, because I just want to know what you guys might think is a good way. Honestly, this is kind of like a comfortable thing for me right now, just talking around with these things. In any case, guys, thank you so much, and Asarai, peace out. See you on the next one.